Okay, and welcome back to Continue Freedom. It's starting already. So I've been under the weather a bit today, so I'm gonna struggle through this one. But as you have probably noticed, this is not a live stream. I'm actually pre-recording this because it's Valentine's Day, and I'm going to spend some time with my wife this evening. And I'm also responsible for cooking the steaks for dinner. So I'm getting this knocked out now here in the home office. But I'm gonna bring you some data on the border. This is something I haven't talked about actually in a while. And Tom Homan, he has referred AOC, because of a webinar that she did, has referred her to the Attorney General. So the Department of Justice is going to be getting involved, and I'm going to play you a video clip about this. I love this guy. He does not mince words, and he is not messing around. And he's been making the rounds on the media, specifically with Eric Adams in New York. He was on the Fox Morning Show. But let's listen to what he has to say about AOC
Tom, you
first.
got AOC out there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, putting out a webinar, doing a webinar to help illegals avoid, I guess, apprehension, giving tips about how to continue to remain in the country and ultimately game the system.
And I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impediment? I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. Is that impediment? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it? Is she crossing the line? So I'm working with the Department of Justice and finding out where is that line that they cross. So maybe AOC is going to be in trouble now, but I need the AOG to opine on that. But because there's impediment is impediment, in my opinion. I'm not a prosecutor, but we need some further guidance on that. But again, if we have to take every federal dollar out of the city, we'll do it. I mean, we're done. This is about public safety. This is about community safety. Knowingly releasing a public safety back in the public is just stupid. You're putting the public at great risk. You're putting our officers at great risk. You're even putting the illegal alien at great risk because anything can happen on arrest on the street. So we just want to make common sense. In sanctuary cities, they want to step aside. Step aside. We're coming. We're going to do it for you. If you don't want to make your community safer, President Trump's going to.
There you go. Words from the great Tom Homan. If you're elected representatives, if your people don't want to keep your city safe, then okay, fine, you can keep voting for that. But Donald Trump is going to Donald Trump is going to do what he can to keep New Yorkers safe, to keep the Chicagoans, I guess is it Chicagoans, to keep them safe. He's keeping la-di-da-di everybody safe. That's what this is all about. And impediment is a big problem, which we're going to talk about the FBI, the leaks from the FBI. We reported on this before that ICE had shown up to do a raid, and there was nobody in any of the apartment complexes. This was in Aurora, Colorado. And so, but I'll get to that here in a second. This is Eric Adams and Tom Homan on the Fox Morning Show. Is it Fox and Friends? Is that what it is? I don't watch Fox on a regular basis. I pull all the clips and stuff from X. Sorry, I can't stand the whole. Anyway, let's listen.
You're up early anyway.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City, and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, "Where the hell is the agreement we came to?" So,
I want ICE to deliver. And I want ICE to deliver. We're going to deliver for the safety of the people of this city.
Right. Okay, this is a big turn. Eric Adams, of course, you know that he was absolutely attacked by the left, by his own party, went after this guy with a vengeance because he was speaking some common sense. And I'm not saying, yeah, got it. He's a Democrat. He's been on Tucker. You can listen to him. He's still a Democrat at heart. He's still got some, ideologies that I certainly don't align with. However, his motives seem to be fairly clear and consistent, is that he actually does care about the city. This isn't just about politics. He's not playing politics because he's sitting on a sofa with Tom Homan, and he's talking about how they are going to work together to keep New Yorkers safe. Here's another clip.
The president's doing a great job. And I want to say this. Look, I worked for 6 presidents. I think President Trump's the greatest president of my lifetime. He proves it every day. Every day he proves to me why he is the greatest president of my lifetime. Border numbers are down over 90% in 3 weeks.
Think about that.
And I worked hard at it. Christy Nolan's working hard at it. The border, the chief of patrol is working hard at it. But it was President Trump's executive orders that was a game changer, right? And we already got over almost 16,000 people we arrested in the interior. That's 3 times more than Joe Biden had a year from now. But it's not enough. We got to do more. But President Trump's leadership, when you get 90% less people coming across the border, how many women aren't being raped by the cartels? How many children aren't drowning? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked in this country? President Trump's a game changer. And every day, I'll say it 100 times, every day he proves to me why he's the greatest president of my lifetime, what he's done.
And you know,
Okay. I mean, that this is one of the many things that we never thought we would have seen, and that's a Democrat mayor with a Republican appointee, being Tom Homan, sitting on the conservative mainstream news network, talking about the safety of their people, talking about working together, talking about shared and common interests, which is just the security of their citizens, and not playing politics. And Eric Adams, he got lambasted because he came out saying that this illegal immigrant crisis was costing them billions of dollars, them being New York, and that it was going to destroy the city, in his words, that this was going to destroy the city. And so to piece this all together, I'm going to give you another little snippet here. But New York Mayor Eric Adams, they sat side by side, as we talked about, that how their border collaboration is going to be a game changer for national security. This is, if you can do it with the largest city in the country, then you should be able to copy and paste in other places. It should be able to copy and paste into Chicago. But when you've got a mayor who's actually willing to work with you, and when people see, I believe, hopefully, see the positive feedback that he gets for securing the city, then maybe that will play into the politics. As we said with Milton Friedman, it's not that you need to get new elected representatives, it's that you need to make it politically profitable for the wrong people to do the right things. And that's exactly what they're trying to do in New York. So getting back in Rikers Island is a game changer. They're going to be putting, well, let me read the rest of this. Not only do we get the bad guys really hitting the streets, the intelligence of how Tren de Aragua operates, where they're operating, all this intelligence they gather at Rikers Island, we have access to, Homan said alongside Adams on Fox and Friends. The far left has hijacked this narrative that ICE is running in our schools, ICE is running in our churches, and they are creating this frenzy. They're not in the business of just grabbing children. We need to just stop all this noise. And this is what they're talking about, that they're raiding schools and taking out illegal immigrant children, and it's pure lies and garbage. But the loyal left eats this up with a spoon, and they've taken it hook, line, and sinker, whatever you want to call it. Rikers Island, particularly after all the reforms, Rikers Island is now having some of the most dangerous people in our city. And by having ICE on Rikers Island, part of our gang intelligence, using our intel with the NYPD corrections officer, we could identify those gangs inside and outside on the street. So this is a big deal. We're using Gitmo, we're using Rikers. It's going to take a lot of beds and a lot of seats to get rid of the tens of millions that have come across the border. But this is what's necessary. It's necessary for the security of the American people. So you can have all the sympathy in the world for these folks. I got it. But that doesn't mean that, where did it go? Oh, here it is. I'm going to play the one from Tom Homan, another one from Tom Homan. This is talking about the FBI.
Well, look,
Tom Homan. Tom, where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside. And we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation, and they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it.
Okay. So this FBI agent, who they now believe they have identified, that was tipping off illegal immigrants, tipping off criminals. Yes, they are criminals. If they came in this country illegally, they broke our laws. They are criminals, tipping off criminals. And Tren de Aragua, a notorious gang amongst them, that ICE was coming in order to prevent them from being captured. Oh, that's impediment if there ever was. And he's saying, we know who it is. They're not just going to get fired. They're going to go to jail for doing this. And that right there sets the tone for the rest of them. It sets the tone for all the little insiders who want to try and subvert this whole process, who want to interfere with official investigations, who want to interfere with the enforcement of our laws, the laws of our land. That sets a great example. It sets a great example. And what are we trying to, we have to remember what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid what you have already in the UK. This is an example, which we're seeing our own version of this, but this is an example of what we're trying to avoid. This is a guy, he's burning a book, it's actually burning a Quran, out in front of, I think it was Parliament or one of the other government buildings. And what happens? Oh, your friendly neighborhood guy comes by and stabs him, right? In our world, it's freedom of speech if you want to do that. On the left, and with radical Islamists who don't adhere to our Constitution, our freedoms and liberties that we hold very dear, that's the kind of thing you get. And that's what we're trying to avoid. You want to burn a book in whatever book. You can burn a Bible or a Quran, whatever. In the UK, you get stabbed. We don't want people getting shot here in America. That's what we're trying to avoid. If you want to come here, you got to assimilate. You got to assimilate. So the next thing we're going to talk about is J.D. Vance. The guy's doing an amazing job. He gives an impassioned speech at the Munich Security Conference. Let's see if I can get this pulled up here. My links are moving slow. I think my internet might be okay. So Vice President J.D. Vance spoke at the Munich Security Conference on Friday, where he warned European leaders that they need to listen to their citizens as well as uphold the Western values of citizen-led democracy and free speech. He delivered the speech from both a populist and humanist perspective, slamming those European elite leaders who quash the free speech and political action of their citizens, namely the UK and Germany and many other places. In the UK, it's gotten really bad, where people are going to prison, they're going to jail for their social media posts. These citizens, he said, are not interchangeable cogs. He humanized European and American citizens, giving their hopes and dreams value, and warned Europe that to lead a people without the support of those people will lead to ruin. Those leaders in attendance did not appear to be moved by his words, with very few applause sprinkled throughout, the faces of consternation being seen every time the camera panned to the crowd. So a bunch of angry Europeans, when J.D. Vance is over there spouting the horrible idea of listening to the people, the horrible idea of freedoms and liberties, the horrible idea of free speech, they get scoffs. Elon Musk posted this one. This is a snippet from the speech, but it was funny, as J.D. Vance is able to do. Can be a comedian at times, but listen.
And expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what German democracy,
don't worry, JD, we're laughing.
No democracy, American, German, or European, will survive is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered.
Which is what you have in Europe. Europe is lost. I've posted so many videos of bridges and towns and cities being taken over. Countless. In fact, I'll give you a prime example of this globalism, multiculturalism, which is a problem. This lady, I've played this video before, but I'm going to play it again so that everybody can be reminded.
Amsterdam, the capital. Amsterdam currently consists of 56% migrants. The Hague, 58% migrants. Rotterdam, almost 60% migrants. And of course, most of these immigrants come from non-Christian, non-Western, African and Middle Eastern countries. Conclusion, the Dutch population is already outnumbered in the majority of our cities. But let's look onwards. London, 54% migrants. Again, conclusion, native population outnumbered. Brussels, color me shocked, 70% migrants. Conclusion, native population majorly outnumbered. And other Europeans will, of course, follow suit soon if they haven't already. So I'm going to draw the forbidden conclusion here. The Great Replacement theory is no longer a theory. It's reality. And what's interesting about replacement is that the establishment will either deny its existence, or when they admit to it, they say that it's a good thing that the native European population is soon no longer a majority on its own continent. Dutch national disgrace and dubbed climate pope Frans Timmermans already stated in 2015 that diversity is humanity's destiny and that Europe will be diverse. And of course, by now, I think we all know what they mean with the word diversity. It means less white people, less of you. Imagine this in an Asian or an African country. Imagine their leaders rejoicing in the fact that their people will soon no longer be a majority in their own country. Absolutely unthinkable, unimaginable. So what in the world is wrong with our leaders?
Okay. So in the name of being kind and welcoming and this, that, and the other, multiculturalism is believed to be this wonderful, beautiful, fantastic thing. And we see it in Aurora, Colorado, and we've seen it in Chicago, and we've seen it in New York, and we've seen it in small towns where tens of thousands of migrants have been housed, but in some cases nearly outnumbering the number of people who actually live in the town, which I've highlighted on this show. It's not the fact that they come from those places, it's the fact that there is no pathway for assimilation, there is no expectation of assimilation, and they take these I guess you would say, behaviors and beliefs and ideologies and cultural practices and insert that into an American system, and we're told that that is supposed to be a good thing. While meanwhile, you get the issue of dogs being killed and all these other things. This is not how this is supposed to work. This is why we have an immigration system that takes a long time, that has an assimilation process built into it. And that lengthy time, and obviously it takes a lot of money to do it because we don't want la-di-da-di everybody simply coming here and becoming an American citizen out of the blue. That assimilation process gives people some buy-in to what it means to be American. And if you take somebody off the streets of some country like Syria in the Middle East, or you take them off the streets of Senegal, or you take them off the streets of wherever, from the slums of Beijing or wherever it happens to be, and you put them into American society, and they start behaving the way they did in those downtrodden, poor, failing states and failing nations, then it disrupts our way of life. It becomes a burden on us and a burden on we the people. So yes, immigration is fine, but not in the name of multiculturalism. Immigration is fine so long as there is a buy-in by the person coming to this country, a vested interest in the success of our nation, an understanding of our civics, an understanding of our Constitution, and our Judeo-Christian principles that guide our governance, then it's fine. And it's going to take you a few years. But Europe is already lost. A lot of Europe is already lost. And that's what we're trying to stop. And that's what we're in now having to reverse, thanks largely to Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. Open the borders. It's going to be great. No. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about. There was a video that circulated by Rachel Maddow. And, okay, Rachel Maddow is a notorious, she's a liar. She goes on the party line, and she's trying to do whatever she can to try to make a valid point. And in this instance, she's talking about a contract that went to Tesla. Let's listen to this real quick.
Elon Musk has apparently somehow convinced the United States government, specifically the United States Department of State, that the taxpayers of the United States of America should spend $400 million buying, quote, armored Tesla production units. Isn't it great and definitely not at all illegal or profoundly corrupt? Definitely not ripping us all off to pay themselves, right?
Donald Trump didn't give that contract to Elon Musk. Joe Biden gave it to him.
And Jesse Waters for the win. Well, you could say that, okay, if they're in the process of getting rid of government waste and abuse, shouldn't they get rid of that contract? Because that's $400 million. Do we need to spend $400 million on armored Teslas? Well, apparently not, because once it came to light, and like everything else, they said, we're not going to do it. The Trump State Department has canceled a deal made by the Biden administration to purchase $400 million in armored Tesla Cybertrucks. Procurement plans for 2025 also include a purchase from BMW. The Biden administration had implemented an electric vehicle mandate and had plans to replace much of the federal fleet with electric vehicles. On his first day in office, Trump reversed the initiative. So while they're trying to make this point of it's corrupt, oh my gosh, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, it's so corrupt because Elon Musk is making $400 million on armored Teslas. No, he's not. Elon Musk is not immune from massive government spending. In fact, Elon Musk, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, and I didn't pull up this video because it just came to mind. During an interview, he said, get rid of all the government subsidies when it comes to EVs. He said, we don't need the government subsidies in EVs. The charging stations, we've spent billions of dollars, the federal government has, to build just a handful of charging stations. Meanwhile, Elon Musk can put them in for, tens of thousands of dollars a piece, and the federal government is spending millions and millions and millions of dollars a piece to put them in. And he said, no, get rid of the government subsidies. It's a waste. The market is there, which largely has been built by Elon Musk. The demand is there. So why do we need to have government subsidies in that industry? He said, get rid of it. So Elon Musk is not immune from this, and I don't think he has any expectation of it. Now, the space program, that's something completely different, but he's essentially taken over the space program and made more progress for less money than NASA ever did. So just when you start hearing it, this is really why I wanted to bring this up, is that when you start hearing the screeching heads on mainstream media bringing things up, you always have to look a couple levels deep, because they will very, very quickly deceive you. And if I ever say anything that's wrong or that is false, it's obviously not intentional, but if it is, I will be the first one to correct myself. And it will not be a page 6 correction. It will be a correction right here on this show in front of you all. Because I want to be accountable to the people that I'm trying to inform. The mainstream media, they're not really worried about the accountability. They're more worried about the message. They're more worried about getting it right for the party. That's not my thing. Now, I'm going to close with one thing, and this was actually a conversation I had post live stream yesterday, and I want to get your all's comments on it and your opinions on this. But actually, I won't say his name, obviously, but I had a conversation with a gentleman who was talking about the tariffs, and he said, "Well, I prefer, as opposed to tariffs, putting in quotas." So you will buy X amount of product from us. That's our agreement, is that you will buy X number of barrels of oil or X number of pounds of steel or tons of steel, rather, and so on and so forth, and set quotas for each country to meet rather than tariffing them. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on that are. And for me, it's something that I'd never wrestled with, but I'm sure that you guys are researching a lot of stuff. There's somebody out here that'll watch this video who's been researching these things. And I understand that with the tariffs, as I've been in favor of them, Donald Trump is doing them, it's penalizing the countries, but it's also eventually going to start hurting our pocketbooks. And there has to be a plan to account for that. So that rise in price that's going to get passed on to the consumer, and this is what I haven't seen from Donald Trump. I'm trusting that he has a plan for this, but it certainly hasn't been revealed that he's tariffing these countries, that it is going to drive some prices up. But what's he going to do on the back end to help us? But is setting quotas or agreeing on quotas from certain countries a reasonable way to do it, as opposed to tariffs? Just a thought. It really got my mind rattling because I'd never even considered it, and I would love to know your all's opinion on it. I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to sit down and do some math on this, and maybe try to talk to some folks about it, but find out, what could that do for us in the future? Anyway, All right, guys, I'm going to let you know that, first off, thank you so much. If you've watched this far, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and the notification bell. Leave your comments below. Can't wait to hear from you. You don't have to answer just that last question if you don't have an opinion on it. Just let me know what you thought of the show. But I am going to be recording a video this weekend, and it's with a gentleman from Chicago Red. He's a young man. He is part of the group that's trying to flip Chicago. That video is going to be releasing on Monday is my plan. So we're going to record tomorrow, which is Saturday, and I'm going to release that video on Monday. So make sure you've got that notification bell hit, and you'll be notified as soon as that video is released. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. God bless America, and I will see you in the next video.